Hello and welcome to the class number 31. We are going to start out with an easier one to this time since last week was quite lengthy and technical. There were lots of pieces to that one. So I'm going to draw a big box here. Yours don't have to be that big. I'm going to start out by drawing a 2-indent wavy line. So there's the two. So basically it's going to have two peaks on it. I'm going to mirror these peaks now going this way. I'm going to go in, then out, then in, and kind of curve it like that way. If it's not an exact image, don't worry. And I'm going to go out and then in and back out. So you want to kind of create these little narrow sections. So I'm going to have two here, in and then out here, and then back in a little bit. Again, don't worry if they don't line up completely. And then out, in, and out. And I'll have room for one more on the end. And then back in. So you can kind of see that it makes these like weird little bulby bases. In the center where it's indented, I'm going to draw two over the top chevrons. So it goes up and then back down. And I'm going to draw another one down here. Now these don't actually touch, but it doesn't matter if you do it that way. My bottom and top chevron do not touch. I'm going to do another one on the top. It doesn't matter which order. You can do two and then two. It's up to you how you want to do it. And again, these outside chevrons don't touch the first ones. Alright, so there's 4 total. I'm sorry, 4 total. And now in the center, I'm going to draw basically a diamond. I'm going to kind of trace that little section. And if you have room for another little square in the center, you can certainly do that. If you don't worry about it. So I'm going to do my little roof here, my little up triangle. And another one here. And then I'm going to go down, do the same thing. So it's 2. You can have more chevrons than what I've drawn here. You can do the whole thing if you want. You can do sections, whatever it is you want to do. And then I'm going to trace the inside. So the one on the inside is a full box or a full diamond. So it doesn't go all the way around. Alright, so now you're going to go into your next line. And there's only going to be one indent on this one. So the indents are the part where it's skinny, is what I mean by indent. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to draw 2 on the bottom. And I'm thickening them up a little bit. You can do whatever you want. If you have a thicker marker that you want to use to draw them, you want to leave them skinny, that's entirely up to you. So then I'm going to trace that again with a full box or full diamond. And then put a little guy in the center here. When I was drawing this one other time, if you have if you have enough room for a little spot or a little dot in there, you can certainly do that. If you want to leave it blank or you want to fill in the entire center diamond section, you certainly can do that as well. It's up to you. Alright, so don't forget these little pieces on the side. You may not have them, but you may see just a little piece of the chevron on the side there. And then I'm going to go back and do my other little one on the side here. I'll see a little bit more than the previous side, but still not the full chevron thing. So if you have any of those sections on the side, make sure that you fill those in as well. Alright, so nice and easy. You can make this bigger or smaller for whatever kind of section you need whenever you're doing your actual design. It's up to you. Alright, so now the next one I'm going to draw another little rectangle here. I'm not going to make this one quite as big, but it doesn't matter what you have. This one takes a little bit more time consuming, but you get the idea. Alright, so I'm going to divide this section into kind of pieces or parts. So about a 3/4 inch, 1 inch section here, and then I'm going to divide it about 1 inch sections going across. These are just straight boxes across my section. Alright, so now I'm going to decide which way I want to go. I'm going to go right to left. I'm going to start along the top and arch down to the bottom point in each box. And this one will only be kind of just a small piece of it, and this one will be complete because it's a full box. All right, just like that. So now I'm going to start on the left, but you can start wherever you want. I'm going to draw some ovals. These ovals touch each other, and they also touch the bottom line and the top arch. So they should touch, this last one here should touch the side and the side line there. So just going to repeat that process. I'm going to go through and draw all the ovals. You can do one section at a time if you'd like. It's up to you. You want to try and shoot for an odd number, but really these are kind of hard to squeeze in here so accurately. So if you only get 4 or 3 or whatever size you have, just go with that. No big deal. Just kind of starting at the one side, come down along, and then back up. And it's not really pointed ovals. They have kind of a flatter top and a bottom on them. It's going to help you create more of a wider oval as you go across. But really, whatever you can do is totally fine. I have one more little section here. You're not going to see all of these, of course. You'll just see maybe 3 of them. Alright, well, that's good. So now I'm going to go back and behind each of the ovals and all of like that dead space or negative space, I'm just going to go ahead and color that in. This is one of those steps that you can wait until the very end, but just don't forget to go back and do it because it looks a little unfinished if you leave it white. Looks great. See, it looks really, really cool. Alright, so I'm going to go in this top section of my box. I'm going to turn it sideways because I can't draw like that. I'm just going to fill it with lines that are vertical. I mean, they look horizontal now, but they're actually vertical when you turn the paper the right way. And they don't touch. So you can have them spaced out as wide as you want, but you want the spacing to be less than the oval width themselves. You don't want to have maybe only 2 lines. You want to have a lot more lines than what the width of the ovals are, if that makes sense. So they're not, super close, but they're close enough that they're not touching or anything like that. But there's not a lot of white space in between. And try to get them as straight as you can. It's no big deal if they're a little wonky or a little spaced differently here and there. It's really no problem. Just do your best, take your time. Looks really cool when it's done, so it's worth it. So just like that. So you see how it kind of makes it look a little bit darker behind there, but it's not completely black. And now underneath this line, I'm going to draw a very small line of circles. These are white circles, so I use the pen as the outline. They're very tiny. You can make them as big as you want, but you don't want them to be super large. It looks a little funny having it next to the large ovals. So they're really, really tiny, kind of like pinhole size. They are hollow, so they do have a white center. Whatever you want to do is fine. And if you don't like this design, this portion that I'm going to do here with the lines is completely optional. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to I did my top line there. I'm going to grab a pencil. I'm going to very lightly draw my bottom line. And this is where I'm going to put another row of circles. I want it to be as straight as I can. And I'm going to put another row of little circles. And they're going to be about the same size as the top ones, or the first ones that I drew. I tend to draw ovals when I draw these quickly, but you want to try and make them be actual circles so they're not ovals. Alright, looks good. So now in here I'm going to draw a series of X's. So there's an X, come down, and they should touch on the end. So the top and the bottom line of the X, you're going to draw another X directly off of the ends of both of those. So however you want it to work, try to make your X's be very X-y. So they shouldn't be, really, really skinny or really, really wide. You want them to be consistent going all the way across. You can just do a zigzag line in one direction and then flip it and do the zigzag line in the other direction to kind of create that same look. But your eyes kind of go batty after a little while, so I tend to stick with the X's so I don't get lost as to where I am. So something just like that. So that's the pattern. I'm going to repeat it again. Whatever width I use here, I'm going to go down here and do about the same size this way. Just put a little dot there. I'm going to draw my baseline, again, as straight as I can. And then I'm going to just kind of put my lines, vertical lines, straight down underneath where these are. Just kind of line it up and then draw my line. I'm not drawing through that X section. I'm just kind of getting my pen lined up. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I'm going to put the arch in the other direction. So every time you do one of these lines with this, I don't know what you call them. They're kind of like, it reminds me of kind of like this, like an opera house dome. I don't know. But every time you do a row of these, it should switch the other direction. Otherwise, the concept is the same. I want to start with the big ovals on this side, but that's just how I like to draw. You can just flip it over or whatever way you want to draw it and start with the small ovals and go back over to the big side, just like we did when we did the first one. So it's entirely up to you which route you want to go. Alright, so I have room for another top section of another row of these. You may not, depending on what yours looks like. If your section is too small or is much smaller than mine, you may not have another row. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward this section, and then you can either follow along or you can just wait till we do the next one. Messed up there a little bit. Oh well. Alright, so for the last one, we're going to do kind of just a little border type of thing. There's going to be sections in this one, so you're going to do, this is just a large version, you don't have to draw this part. So 2 lines that arch in, and then 2 lines on the end that arch out. So this one arches out, and then in, and then in, and the bottom one arches out. So they should link like that. So I'm going to draw just a straight line as my baseline. And then we're going to, at a diagonal, they don't really go straight up, it's kind of diagonally. I'm going to go off that way. I'm going to start at the bottom and do an arch line down. And these two, the side ones, cave in just slightly. And then I'm going to stack that one there, and I'm going to do a slight indent on the sides. And the top and bottom are arched out, remember, so they go out. So bubble out, like I just messed up there. And then keep going that way. So you can go as tall as you want. Obviously, maybe it's not obvious yet, we're drawing bamboo stalks. So they're kind of like these little sections. It's kind of the easiest way to draw them. So I'm just going to stop. One more. Alright, so this is my last one here. And now I'm going to add the leaves on it. So the leaves of the bamboo kind of come off the tops of the section. So I'm going to draw a little stick out, a center leaf, which are very skinny and long, and then another 2 on one on each side. So you can have them into 1, 2, or 3 sections. So I'm going to just pick at random where I have them. Pick at random how many leaves I have on them. And I'm just going to stop there. You can put more add more anywhere you want on there. The leaves are kind of just off the very top of the stalk. So I'm going to just practice and draw a couple more. Just remember that your side lines should cave in slightly and the top and bottom go out, or like rock up and rock down. So they kind of create an arch up and down. And you can make these again as tall as you'd like. You can have them go behind each other if you want some that are really slanty. It's entirely up to you what you'd like. Oh, I think that looks pretty good. Again, you can make those go in any direction you want, any height that you want. You can have them as medallions, you can have them as like a side piece. You can use them to separate different parts of your design, whatever it is that you want to do with them. It's kind of just a cute little thing to put on a card too, so it's kind of fun. I hope that you enjoyed the designs for today. And if you do want to join the live class, it is every Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30. Please call the library to register. Have a great day.